Okay, so now we'll move on next to the album selection screen. Album selection is really simple. Here on the right hand side you've got all the different types of album: designer, the fine art, matrix, magazine, studio magazine, DIY slip-in, and the matchbook albums. So let's start by designer album. Just click on it once, menu open up, and here's all your sub albums, and all you have to do is select the album that you like. Just by selecting an album, the selection will turn to red, and then here will actually tell you exactly what you've selected, the type of cover, and all the measurements that you need to know about your album. Next is your cover designer. Now, cover designer is, like I said, it's dynamic, so you can select from our materials. You've got natural leathers, you've got prestige leathers, which we import in from Italy. You also have distressed leather, which you all might know it as the mocha, and distressed grey, which has that old antique look to it. We have bonded, leather-like, a lot of different acrylic covers, such as acrylic photo covers, translucent, clear acrylic, but there's also these brushed acrylic covers. Now, the brushed acrylic covers show up best when you have a photo behind them. So what we might do is put a brushed acrylic on, and then I'll go and put a photo on page 1 and come back to this just to see what it looks like. We also have metals, and something new is the linen. We have introduced a lot of new linen, so if you don't have a linen swatch, please give us a call and we can send you a new linen swatch. And these linens are very popular, especially the natural and the black, the silk, which we call night. So these are linen and silks, and they've been really popular. Image covers is everything that have an image to it. So you can have a normal photo cover, which is an image laminated and wrapped around the leather. You can also have an acrylic photo cover with a metallic print stuck behind the acrylic. Translucent, which is an image printed on an acrylic direct. Metal, sandstone metal, which is white sandstone with an image printed on the top. And that's pretty much it. These are the 4 photo options. You can also work with your spine. So let's say you have selected an acrylic cover. You can click on the spine and then select a different leather or a different colored leather to suit your image. So let's select even something from the Italian range. So this will work with your images. Now let's go to next step, which is embossing or personalizing. Now, being acrylic, you can still personalize your acrylic, and let's do test webinar. Here we go. So you can select if you want blind or in black. You can select the different font, and you can also supply us with your font, and you can also select any of the locations to have your personalizing. Now, if this was done on leather, you'll have a little bit more option in terms of coloring. You can have gold, silver, white, black, or blind on leather. Logo, this is where you tell us where you want us to put your logo. So if you say inside front spine or back spine, you can tell us if you want it in position and the color that you want it in. So let's say black, and on the spine. Packaging, box is for free. It comes in as part of your album, but you can also upgrade to a briefcase or even a photo box, or next is an album pod. Leaves is where you get to select if you want white, black, linen, or duplex leaves. And this works for designer, matrix, magazine, pretty much, and DIY albums. Next step is the page designer. So what I'll do, here we go, we'll go to the location. I always like to start the album with a nice big hero shot. So because we've chosen an acrylic photo cover, so I want page 1 to be a magazine style, to be an impressive cover. So I'll just drag and drop this print on. I can double click it just to change it slightly, change the cropping. So I go to my scale tool and just click and move your mouse up and down, and that will change the scaling of the image. And then click on the move tool and I can move that image around. Once I'm happy with everything, just click on the save button. Now if I just go back one step to cover designer, now you can see what I mean by having a clear or a brushed acrylic cover, is that you can see through. This is the clear cover and this is the brushed. Okay. Now obviously the personalizing is not in the right position, so I can go to personalizing and I'll move it to, let's say, horizontal right. That might suit a lot better. Okay. You also have the option here to say show back cover. This will also show you the same thing when you get to the back of the album, just to make sure that your image is centered and it looks good with the cover on. Alright, now let's go back to Page Designer. And to go on to the next page, you can click on the right arrow on your keyboard, or you can use these arrows up here just to go on next. At the moment, every time you start a new album, it's always with one leaf. So to add extra leaves is you come up to this sub-menu point. Now, I'll go through all these. Number one is Save. This is all your saving options. So every now and then you do click on the Save and let TDA save your album. Next is your Aperture tool toggle, and you also can edit keyholes. So if we click on the Aperture tool toggle, this comes in. We will need this tool when you're designing matrix and designer albums. This helps you create apertures and little windows on the page for us to cut, and then for your prints to go behind those little apertures and windows. This little leaflet here is to add books, to add leaves into the book. So you can insert blank leaves, you can delete leaves, you can also insert facing pages, delete pages, you can even cut and paste pages and move them from one place to another. So at the moment we'll just add a couple more pages. Here's the Albums Australia Notes page and Studio Note page. So what you can do with this tool, you can add notes on individual pages if you want us to do something special or look out for that page. You can also add notes on that page for your graphic artist. So let's go back to page 1. You might want this image changed to sepia or black and white with a special effect to it. So all you'd have to do, you go to Notes for Studio, you click on the page, and then you write your note. So let's do one quickly. And you can say, please change to sepia. Okay, so that note will get printed with all your paperwork, as well as when you output at the end the PDF of the design, these notes will be printed on that design. So when you pass that on with your high-res images for your retoucher, could be someone internal or external, they'll see your notes and they see your design, and then they can go ahead and make changes to suit. Save personal mats is a great idea, one of my favorites. So what we'll do, we'll design a mat first, then I can show you how to save it, which will then appear in your personal mats. So just before we start, I'll show you some of the options down here. Apertures. What apertures are little windows that you can use to actually build like a puzzle, build them on the page to create your final page. And once you create that page, you can save it as an entire mat. So apertures is what you use to create at the end a mat. In this one, let's say you can drag and drop these 4x5s. So first of all, you can move things around and align it on the page. If you're not sure if it's centered, you can see here it's telling you with orange that the aperture is not centered. You can click on that and that will center it for you. If you intentionally want it off center, that's fine. You can just say ignore. If you change your mind, you can always use the toggle tool up here and just say center, and that will center your apertures. If you have more than one aperture, so let's say you've got 2 of these just at different heights, M for move, and you want these 2 to be aligned together, you can shift and hold both. And then you've got some of these tools up here, which is the aligning tool. So we're going to align the top aperture to be in the center of the bottom aperture. Just click that and it's aligned. You can align it to the left, and also you can align it to the right. Now you notice they're not the same size. If you do want them to be exactly the same size, delete this. You can click on this aperture, and up here it's telling me that it's 3 columns, 1 row. It's showing you the preview. The spacing is 39 of an inch. It's telling you that it's 4 inch wide and the height is 496. That's per aperture. So all I have to do is, if I change that to 2.5, let's say, enter, you'll notice the new design of my apertures. All I have to do is drag these down and just place them on the page. Now they'll be exactly the same width as these now because I used the same apertures to create the top ones. Now I might be happy with that, so all I have to do is center it, or I might want to flip them upside down just by click on the flip horizontal. Here we go. Let go, and there's my design. Now if I'm happy with this design and it's something that I want to use again and again, what I do recommend is that you click on the Save Personal Mat and OK. So now when we go to Personal Mat, you'll see our new design, and all we have to do is drag it up and it's ready to go. Press on delete to get rid of it. Now let's design something in this. We don't have many images, but let's just go to the bride. Might do something like that quickly. Here we go. That's as simple as that. If you want to change something within an aperture, you double click on the image. You can use the shortcut S for scale, or you can click on the scale tool. Then all you have to do now is click and hold on the image and then slide up and down while you're holding and just zoom in. You can use the shortcut M for move, or click on move and then move that image around. Now you pretty much can do that to any of these apertures. Okay, now while we're down here, also I'll show you the personal apertures. Personal apertures is if you want to design an aperture but you want it to be a specific size that you use all the time, you can create one and save it as a personal aperture. And to do that, you just say Save Personal Aperture, and that will appear in your aperture window. Standard mats, these are mats that we have designed and have already pre-cut at Albums Australia. In a designer album, these are a little bit cheaper to purchase, but obviously they are limited. Now these personal mats cannot be modified in any way because, like I said, they're already pre-cut. So if I drag